What are demons? They're actually the spirits of the Nephilim that were destroyed by the flood. Now, who are the Nephilim? That's in Genesis chapter 6, when the sons of God, which are these fallen angels, came and married the daughters of men, and they produced a race called the giants or the Nephilim. And when the flood destroyed them, their spirits remained on earth, and those spirits are actually evil spirits. Now, does that shock you? I know I was shocked when I first learned this. Years ago, I was reading the Bible, and I noticed that Jude kept quoting about what Enoch prophesied. And yet, when I went to the Bible said nothing about what Enoch said. It just simply said Enoch walked with God, was no more, for God took him. There was no mention of his prophesying. And yet the Apostle Jude in the Bible, he says that Enoch prophesied. So I wanted to know, where did he get this quote? Well, I found out in my research that he got that quote from the book of Enoch. Now you say to me, I've never heard the book of Enoch. Well, the book of Enoch was a book that was revered by the Jews. It was revered by the early Christians. And in fact, in the early Christian church, some churches actually read the book of Enoch, believing it was scripture. That's how reverent the early Christians treated the book of Enoch. And of course, Jude quoted from it. And so that gave credence to the book of Enoch. So I wanted to know, what did the book of Enoch said, since it was so revered by the Jews, revered by the early Christians, and Jude quoted from it. So I went to my library and I found the book of Enoch, and it's the book of 1st Enoch. Now, the book of 2nd and 3rd Enoch, those are not anything to do with what Jude quotes. They were not even available in the early church. But the book of 1st Enoch was. So I decided to read the entire book of Enoch. And when I came to chapter 15 of the book of Enoch, I was shocked when I read this. So listen to what Enoch says, and he's going to tell you the origin of demons. So, and I quote, and I'm quoting from Enoch chapter 15, verses 8 through 10. Okay? But now the giants who are born from the union of the spirits of the flesh shall be called evil spirits upon the earth, because their dwelling shall be upon the earth and inside the earth. Evil spirits have come out of their bodies, because from the day that they were created from the sons of God, they became watchers. Their first origin is the spiritual foundation. They will be called evil upon the earth, and shall be called evil spirits. The dwelling of the spiritual beings of heaven is in heaven, but the dwelling of the spirits of the earth, which are born upon the earth, is in the earth. Wow, that's it. You know what Enoch is saying is that evil spirits come from the Nephilim that were destroyed in the flood. And because their foundation was a spiritual foundation, they didn't go to heaven or hell at that moment. They remained upon the earth, because the judgment of angels is not till later. And so when I read this, I thought, wow, he is saying that's the origin of demons. They're the disembodied spirits of the Nephilim. Now, I had to ask myself, I can't believe something just because the book of Enoch said it, but was there anything in the Bible that might give credence or discredit to this statement? And I found it. It's in Genesis chapter 6. So I decided to go to what Enoch is talking about the sons of God. And he's saying the sons of God were angels. And watch what he says in Genesis chapter 6, verse 1. When human beings began to increase in number on the earth, and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that the daughters of humans were beautiful, and they married any of them they chose. Then the Lord said, my spirit will not contend with humans out forever, for they are mortal. Their days will be 120 years. The Nephilim, this is Moses, the Nephilim were on the earth in those days. That's the giants, the union of the sons of God and the daughters of men. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of God went to the daughters of humans and had children by them. They were the heroes of old, men of renown. What got me? Moses says they were in the earth afterwards. After what? He's giving us the description of the flood. He's starting off the story of the flood. In other words, we know they were in the earth before the flood. But you know what he says? They were in the earth afterwards. And here, what I had to ask, how in the world could the Nephilim be on the earth after the flood? If the flood destroyed them, why would they be on the earth? And that's when I realized Moses is agreeing with the book of Enoch. He is saying the sons of God were angels and that their spirits had to remain on the earth because their foundation is a spiritual foundation, is from angels. And then on top of that, I started reading what Jude talks about. Peter talks about these angels that were thrown into Tartarus, which is the lowest of all hells. Have you read that in Peter? That these angels were thrown into hell. And I had to ask myself, are these all the fallen angels? If so, why are we battling fallen angels today if they were all thrown into hell? He's not referring to all fallen angels, but he's referring to those angels in the days of Noah. He's referring to the Genesis chapter 6 passage. So I saw that Peter quotes from it. And then I noticed Paul in Ephesians chapter 6, he says there's two categories of spiritual entities we battle. He mentions in Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12, that we struggle not against flesh and blood, but against spiritual forces of evil in this world, and the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. So there he mentions two realms. So here's what I want you to see. Demons are the forces on earth that we have to do battle with, while fallen angels are the spiritual forces in the heavenly realms that we battle in a different way than we battle the demons. So as I started to read it, I realized, my goodness, I just found out the origin of demons, and the church hasn't been preaching it. Now, the early church has believed it. The apostles apparently believed it because Peter writes about it. But this view fell out of favor later on in church history. Well, it's my personal belief we ought to go back to the original church because they believed in it. And that's my personal belief. Now, if you don't agree with me and you believe demons are fallen angels, God bless you. Let's not fight over it. That's not important. But I do believe by knowing that their origin comes from fallen angels and they were sexually perverted, it lets me know something about demons. They work among sexual perversion more than any area. If you want to see where demons work, look where sexual perversion is at, and you're going to find demons at work. And that has helped me understand how to combat demons. Now, I wrote an article on this subject, on the origin of demons, and my article became the #1 online article on the origin of demons around the world. My teaching has struck a chord with people, and I hope that you learned something about the origin of demons, and you might spread this video to your friends and tell them to listen to it. I hope you got blessed by it.